Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for another video. And in today's video we are going to be discussing the Barca versus Getafe game in more detail. That game is going to be coming up this Sunday at 4:15 local time from the Camp Nou. But this is not the preview video, that's going to be coming up tomorrow, talking about the game in general. But in this video we are going to be talking about our centre-back partnerships and who exactly is going to play at the heart of our defence against Getafe on Sunday, simply because we have injuries, we have a suspension, and right now it's really uncertain who is actually going to be in that lineup in our defence in this game. And I have to say before that, Getafe right now are 11th in La Liga. Obviously, we've beaten them handsomely at home in recent visits. You know, they always do well against Getafe at home, but we still can't underestimate them. We've got to have a decent centre-back pairing for this game, and that's why in this video, we're going to be having a look at exactly who can play, who is available right now. A lot of injuries, suspensions. Obviously, let's start with the confirmed news. Samuel Umtiti will not be playing in this game. That is absolutely rock solid, 100% confirmed. He picked up his 5th yellow card of the season in that derby match against Espanyol. That means that he will miss one La Liga game with suspension, and that will be this Getafe game. So Samuel Umtiti, there's no injury, but he is definitely suspended for this game and won't play any part. And then you'd move on to Gerard Piqué, and you'd have to say, looking at it, that it's very, very unlikely they were going to risk Gerard Piqué in this kind of game, simply because yesterday he played against Valencia. He clearly didn't look fully fit. There was a lot of strapping around his knee area. He wasn't moving freely. He was substituted before the end of the game with discomfort. And after the game against Valencia yesterday, Valverde actually did come out and say to the press that he did feel discomfort, though he didn't want to risk him any further, and that Piqué did have not an injury, but he just said we need to be very careful with him. And he didn't train today with the first team. Make of that what you will. And obviously 9 days it will be from that Getafe game to the Chelsea match. Just 9 days from then until the Chelsea game. And I'm really sure that in this game he surely won't be risked. We risked him against Valencia. That was a cup semi-final. But in this game against Getafe at home, one that you'd expect to win, I really can't see Piqué being thrown in this one. And that basically leaves us without our two first choice centre-backs. No Umtiti, no Gerard Piqué. Who exactly is going to play? Because Thomas Vermaelen, the player who you'd say right now is probably third choice centre-back, somebody who played very well when he had to step in for Samuel Umtiti in his absence, but obviously he's been out for the last few weeks as well, since January, with an injury that he sustained himself. And it has to be said, Thomas Vermaelen's recovery from that injury has not gone fully according to plan. He was expecting to be out for around 2 to 3 weeks. It wasn't anything serious. He was expecting to get back on the pitch very, very soon indeed. But as of yet, he has not received the medical green light. He's not really back in full training. He's not training with the group with the full sessions. So right now, it is extremely unlikely that he will be playing against Getafe on Sunday, meaning that we're actually without Umtiti, without Piqué, and without Vermaelen as well. So who can play? Who can honestly step up if you're a centre-back? You've got a chance of playing right now in the Barcelona first team. And that is why I would say, coming into this game, it is absolutely certain from my point of view that Yerry Mina will make his official La Liga debut at home at the Camp Nou in this game. He came on against Valencia in the last 7 minutes as a replacement for Gerard Piqué. He looked pretty decent. He didn't have an awful lot of time on the ball. He didn't really have an awful lot to do, but he did look okay, and that's the main thing, you know, getting Yerry Mina into the team, making him settle. It's his first time in Europe. He's going to take a bit of time, but I think he's definitely going to start this game simply because there's not really a lot of other options. He is a genuine centre-back. He's a first-team centre-back, and with Umtiti, Piqué and Vermaelen all out, there's a very good chance right now he is the only out-and-out centre-back in our first team that is going to be available for this game, and I really do think that he's going to start. But the question, of course, is then, who is going to play alongside him? Yerry Mina, a debutant in La Liga, his first ever game at the Camp Nou. How is he going to react to all that? And most importantly, who's going to be alongside him? It's not going to be somebody with experience. It's not going to be an experienced centre-back. We do have experienced other players, and there's also a Barcelona B option. But who exactly is it going to be? And how much of a risk are we going to be taking in this game? Because in my mind, there is only one alternative at centre-back. There's only one other centre-back in the Barcelona setup that we can go with, and that's David COSTAS from the Barcelona B team. 22-year-old centre-back, currently on loan from Celta Vigo, which may sound like a bit of a risky option, bringing somebody in who's relatively only played this season in the Segunda Division. He's been very much a mainstay at centre-back with Barcelona B this season. Just one solitary appearance for the first team in the Copa del Rey at home against Real Murcia, which is a very, very comfortable game. But to be honest, he does have some La Liga experience from the past, not with Barcelona themselves, but he has played for Celta Vigo in each one of the last 3 seasons before this one. It has to be said though, 19 appearances he's made in La Liga during his career, but the majority of those came way back in the 13-14 season when he was coming through as a young player, and since then he's really failed to kick on in La Liga, and for that reason it would be a risk, but to be honest, he is the only out-and-out centre-back option we have, apart from Yerry Mina, coming into this game. And then there's somebody like Sergio Busquets, obviously somebody who's not a natural centre-back, but he has played there in the past, and there are certain things going for Sergio Busquets that sort of make him pretty much a mainstay for that role. He is somebody who's very tactically astute, he understands the game, he can read the game very, very well, and in that sort of centre-back role, that's a really important trait. Obviously he's tall, he's pretty decent in the air, that'll certainly help him at centre-back. The only downside of Busquets at centre-back will probably be his lack of pace. You know, in midfield, you've got players around him and players behind him who can make up for that, but when you're at centre-back, you really are one of the last lines of defence, and your pace at times could be exposed. And obviously Yerry Mina, as of yet, really sort of yet to develop and establishing himself in La Liga. So Busquets and Yerry Mina, two very tall players, but how much pace would be in that centre of defence? But like I say, he can do a job, he has done it in the past. It's been a few years now since he had to fill in at centre-back, but he's certainly done this in the past in very big games as well. I can remember in Champions League games, we've been at it, we've been in this kind of situation, we've got a lot of injuries, a lot of suspensions, and Busquets had to fit in, and he does do a job there. So if worst comes to worst, he's somebody with a lot of experience, he understands the game, he's tall enough to play there, I think it could work. But obviously if you put Busquets in centre-back, you've got the other problem whereby you don't have his influence in that midfield position. Who is going to fill his role there? And then you've got another problem. So for me, Busquets is an option, but maybe not the best one. Another player that has been linked with that vacant centre-back slot is Lucas Digne, obviously a left-back by trade, somebody who is probably a more defensive player than he is going forward. When he does play at left-back, he does most of his game defensively, not really going forward. Is he that comfortable? So in some ways you can see him fitting in at centre-back. What I would say this season though, is defensively, Lucas Digne has not quite been up to the mark. In his last few games that he's played, he's been a bit suspect, he's been to blame for a few of the goals that we've conceded. Also, he was not included in the squad that faced Valencia just yesterday. He did pick up a finger injury against Espanyol the weekend before. Whether he's still suffering from that, he has been training though, so I think he will be fit in time for the weekend, but whether or not he can do a job at centre-back, that is something which right now is yet to be desired. We're not really sure whether Lucas Digne can slot in there, how he would play. I think Lucas Digne at centre-back would remind me very much of when Adriano had to slot in there again, when we were very, very desperate. I remember Adriano playing centre-back against Real Madrid, which is an absolute calamity, and I wouldn't really want that to happen with Lucas Digne. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of height, he has a bit of pace, he's not absolutely rapid, but he does have a bit of pace in his game. It could work against Getafe at home. You'd feel like we would dominate the ball, we'd have territorial advantage, there wouldn't be an awful lot of chances, but again, you don't really want to be taking unnecessary risks, and although Digne is an option, again, I don't really feel in this case like it's the best option. I would personally go with an out-and-out centre-back, somebody who understands the role, and maybe not a left-back who's going to come inside and maybe find himself in a situation that he doesn't really feel comfortable with. And the final options for that centre-back role would simply be players like SERGI Roberto. Nelson Semedo has been mentioned as well. I think a lot of people are already mentioning Nelson Semedo, not really because of the characteristics you need as a centre-back, but simply because of his pace. He's a player that's obviously very, very rapid, he can get about the pitch, and often, you know, his pace in defensive situations can help bail him out. If there's a player one-on-one, he's certainly going to be good in the duels, he's going to be good on the one-on-ones, but obviously at centre-back you've got to tactically understand what you're doing, you've got to be understanding the position you've got to be taking up, and obviously as well, Semedo isn't blessed with an awful lot of height, but obviously with Mascherano over the years, height isn't everything at centre-back, but I just think Semedo started his career as a winger, hasn't yet long really developed into a full-back, so I think it would be a big step to see him at centre-back. I think that would be a big risk, and I'll be very, very surprised to see Nelson Semedo at centre-back against Getafe. With Sergio Roberto though, I can completely understand it. I honestly can, because I personally think Sergio Roberto could play anywhere on that pitch. You put him anywhere and you say to him, go out there, do a job, get the job done, give it your all, and I think he'd do it. He's like, you just wind him up and he goes out there and he performs his own game. I think if we had a problem with Ter Stegen and Silasson, you put Roberto between the sticks and he could do a job for you, I tell you that now. But overall, I think personally the best option in this game would be to go with David Costas and Yerry Mina. I really don't think that we should be risking Gerard Piqué. I think it's very unlikely that Vermaelen will be back. If either of those two were available and fit, I would certainly go with those, of course, but I would certainly start Yerry Mina. He deserves a start, he's a centre-back, he's a first-team centre-back, certainly play him, and then I would go with David Costas alongside him, simply because he's a natural centre-back. He has played in La Liga before, it was a few years ago when he had a real run in the team, but he can still understand the role, he can still understand the Barcelona way, he's been playing with Barcelona B all season long, and he's naturally a centre-back. It's the less risky option. We've then got Busquets' influence in midfield, who will help protect the back four, and then you've still got the likes of Semedo, Roberto at right back if you need them, and DIGNE, I don't think we should throw him into a centre-back role. So for me, Costas and Mina should be our centre-backs, but this is where I want to know your thoughts, guys. What do you think should be our centre-back partnership for the game at the weekend against Getafe? I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. And like I say, the preview video will be up for you guys tomorrow. This is not the preview. This is just having a look at some of the problems that we're having and really assessing who could play and who is the best option. So let me know your thoughts below. Who would your pick be? I will look forward to hearing your opinions. I'll be with you tomorrow for that match preview and anything else that happens in the meantime. Thank you, as always, for your incredible support, and thank you very much for joining me once again for a video today. I will see you very, very soon indeed. But until then, as always, Visca El Barça!